Hi, everybody. I'm Carmine Sabi with Explain America. I'm here with Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Congresswoman, how are you today?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. Well, there's a lot to talk about. I want to talk about one thing real quick. I did a story on this today, so it's something that's on my mind already. Ilhan Omar had some words to say about you and President Trump. I want to play that clip.
Okay.
And if we can get your reaction to it.
For me, is I feel embarrassed for him because in these attacks, what he does, and I think with the likes of Nancy Mace and whoever that Randy guy is, they expose themselves for how stupid they are. And that is embarrassing for us as a country because these are people who are elected to positions of leadership. He's supposed to be the president of the United States, who's heading off to Europe to represent us. When he does, he's uneducated enough to understand that members of Congress can't be impeached. You know, when you have Nancy and Randy saying, you know, we're on it, we're going to impeach her. When they're saying they're going to deport me, knowing full well that you cannot deport an American citizen. What that displays for not just Americans, but folks on an international platform is that our country is being led by idiots. And that is not something that we should be comfortable with as Americans. And that's not something that should make us proud. And so in this moment, I feel great sadness as an American that these are the kind of people that the world gets to see representing us. So
Idiots. That was her word. Idiots for you and President Trump. Coming from her, that's rather interesting. Nancy, your thoughts?
No, it's rather rich. I can think of nothing more idiotic than to say you represent Somalia when you're an elected member of the United States Congress, which is something that Ilhan Omar has done over and over again. We've all seen the clip where she says, I'm just a Somali girl and I just want to get back home to Somalia. And this is the country I represent. And you've seen the video clips of the ambassador to Somalia, the prime minister, president of Somalia, saying how good it was to have Ilhan Omar in Congress because she's the first one that they go to. Like, that's so un-American and foolish. You know, she knows better than that.
Now, she says she can't be deported, which tells me she doesn't know much about the law because 8 USC, she actually can be deported if
she could be denaturalized and be deported, especially if there was fraud in the way that she became a U.S. citizen.
Correct. And the jury's out. We're not making any accusations here, but there's a lot of smoke. And usually where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean,
I think President Trump asked the right question the other day in his Truth Social post was, did she marry her brother? I mean, I think we'd all like to know the answer to that question too.
Yeah. I mean, did she marry? Listen, we're all wondering the same thing, right? Because those rumors have been around really forever. Now, before you got in here, right before you came in here, we found out that Ryan Routh not only was found guilty on all charges, which is not a shocker, but also that he tried to, I don't know if you heard this yet, he tried to stab himself.
My staff just told me with a pen or something on the desk in the courtroom, this guy just needs to be locked up in prison for the rest of his life. And hopefully that's what's happening.
Hope so. Well, now, is the death penalty on the table for this? It's not, because he didn't actually commit murder, but it is, isn't it? Is it not true? I know they didn't get tried for treason, but couldn't he be tried for treason in a federal system here?
I'm not sure. I'm not an attorney. I don't give legal advice. I'd have to do some research on that. I don't know if what he's done would qualify as treason under the Constitution. I don't think that it does, but because he didn't actually injure or kill the president of the United States. He was there in position, for the attempted assassination. I'm not sure. But I do believe that we should have the death penalty. We should bring it back, particularly for child rapists. There was a case today here in South Carolina where a magistrate court judge was just arrested for child sexual abuse material and allegedly traveled to different states and different countries to rape, allegedly, babies and toddlers. And so I've been talking a lot about the death penalty lately, particularly in regards to child rapists and murderers. It is legal in many cases in many states, but we haven't really used it. When was the last time you can remember it actually being used? Look at Tyler Robinson. That guy should get a firing squad. They should expedite his trial. Child rapist is one case that I found out about today. These things need to be expedited. They need to be public executions so that America knows that we are the country of law and order, and this stuff will not go on.
Well, and that's the kind of thing that you're going to bring to the South Carolina race, right? I mean, so
Sure am.
what is it that you bring differently? And I think we know, look, I'm not breaking news here. Obviously, I'm a supporter.
Yeah.
What is it that
You're
you
a
bring
great
differently?
supporter.
Thank you. What is it you bring to South Carolina that no other candidate brings?
Well, the America First agenda. I mean, that's what I'm going to bring to the table, and the hard work ethic that I have. I call the balls and strikes against both parties, Republicans and Democrats alike. I'm doing that right now with a congressman that is alleged to have done stolen valor and has alleged arms deals with foreign countries, and he sits on the Foreign Affairs Committee. I don't care if you're going to R or D by your name. I'm going to bring crime to light. We're going to prosecute crime in South Carolina. I was the only member of Congress last year where we had a sanctuary sheriff in a red state in South Carolina who was letting out illegals who are rapists, murderers, and pedophiles. There was only one member of Congress and or one statewide official that called this sheriff out and got them unelected. I did that. And when it comes to the economy, I want to follow Trump's lead in lowering taxes in the state of South Carolina. And shrinking the size of government and repealing cumbersome regulations. So he's really led as the greatest president in American history. And we can have some really great governors next year in the 2026 midterm election. We've got Byron Donalds in Florida. You have Vivek Ramaswamy in Ohio, Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee. I mean, there are just so many great patriots who are running. We have a really great opportunity to run the tables on the left and Democrats who want to destroy our country at the state level on down.
And I would love to see personally Tim Burchett take over in the Senate.
He's terrific. He's one of my favorite members of Congress. He's, just so that you all know, he's one of the most genuine people in Congress. There's a lot of, folks up there that are there for ego and hubris. But I have to tell you, he will go out of his way to check on members who are struggling or having a hard time. I've had a rough 2 years, and every step of the way as I've gone through my trauma, he's been a friend and checked in on me when he didn't even have to. He's been really, really excellent. Anna Paulina, Luna, Lauren, Boberg, they've really great crew who check on other members and look out for them too. Mm-hmm.
I think he's doing a great job, and I'd love to see him in the Senate, but that's a topic for a different day. One thing I want to touch on, obviously, we are all still incredibly sad and in mourning over the passing of Charlie Kirk. Just really sad. It's a really sad day for all of us. It's been a really sad time. You have been the subject of some pretty significant threats. One that, I mean, we talked about just the other day, but it's not the only one. It's not the only one. And they're vicious threats.
Oh, they're terrible. I mean, the transgender community, the far left and some of their mainstream Democrats, like they're threatening my life and life of my kids and my family and my parents because I'm a rape survivor who doesn't want men in the bathroom. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how simple the argument is. And they don't like the language that I use. And so they feel justified in these threats. We actually just had someone about an hour ago show up to our office unannounced, knowing that they did not have an appointment and were asked not to come in and come by the office anyway. And thankfully we had security here to assist my staff. But there are folks who have lost their marbles and want to do harm to others just because they're angry or they disagree with you or because you don't believe in transgenders. It's not science, right? But it's really a challenging time. And like what Charlie would do, he would have these debates and have these conversations and tell the truth. And we have to keep telling the truth. And his death was devastating. His murder has been a devastating thing for our country, particularly for our youth and our young people. One of my kids looked up to him just so much. And I did 3 turning point events this year. And one of them at a South Carolina University, we had a transgender person show up and they tried to pick up a potted plant, the fern incident, and tried to throw it at me, but I had lots of security there and they stopped it before it could happen. And then what really incenses me is that the left, Jasmine Crockett, calling him a racist. The last turning point event I spoke at, I was the only white person to speak at, my staff tells me, was the Blexit event in Tampa, run and sponsored by Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. He loved everybody. If you were conservative, he gave you a platform. He didn't care about the color of your skin. And he was really remarkable and loved women and kids and, espoused all these Christian virtues and faith and, Christian values. And there's really been a revival in the 2 weeks since his murder. There's been a huge revival of Christ followers and Christians and also people who are willing to speak up and not allow teachers to teach in their schools who are indoctrinating our children, making sure that anyone who works at a hospital system making life and death decisions, that if they espouse that kind of hate, that they're going to be fired from their jobs. I don't want someone who's a transgender or supports that kind of violence operating on me. I won't wake up. Like, no, thank you. And so we as conservatives have come together all across the country, and I think it's been really remarkable. And I want to reiterate that all of our prayers are with Erica, with his 2 children, with the Turning Point family, and the millions of students who are going to grow up in this era and have witnessed of his horrific murder. And he'll speak up, speak out, and fight for our values, figuratively, not literally, but fight for our values and our right to free speech. Yeah.
We got to be careful about that, right? If we say fight, they're calling for violence.
Figuratively.
Even though they kind of call for that every day. There was one thing I want to end with this, because I know you're busy and I appreciate your time today. I want to end with this. There's something interesting that happened over the weekend. I actually shared the clip with you. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but Ilhan Omar again, she's giving an interview, and I found this really interesting. She was on CNN. She's talking to Caitlin Collins, and she said that you and President Trump, people like you, are calling for violence against her, and how you're doing it is you're using words. You're using words that paint her in a negative light. And I got to tell you, I lost my mind at this clip. I couldn't believe, I'm not going to play the clip. I've done a video on this already, but she's talking about words causing violence when she sits here and calls you, calls Trump, calls me and everybody else fascist, compares us to the former dictator of Germany in the 1940s. We can't say.
Well, let's not forget the reason that I brought up the censure resolution to kick her off her committees is because she was posting content calling Charlie Kirk a terrorist, essentially calling all of us terrorists and fascists and Nazis and Hitler. Right. Words are words. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. I think J.D. Vance said that very well, and same thing with President Trump. But we have to call it like we see it. And she, I believe, is a national security risk, and I'm being very, pointed about that. I also think Corey Mills is a national security risk. So when I call things out, call the balls and strikes, I'm calling them on everybody who I believe is not America first when they pose a risk to our country and our values.
I agree with you. I think she is a national security risk. I think there's a few. I think Eric Swalwell was a national security risk.
100%. And Pencil Neck, what's his name? Adam Schiff in California. I mean, come on.
But seriously, in all seriousness, these people are national security risks, and we know it. And so it's time this administration.
We don't do anything about it. Like, I just, I'm with Trump. Like, he wants action. I do too. Like, when are people going to be prosecuted? When are they going to go to jail? We all know that people are breaking the law.
Amen.
High up, rich and powerful people. So I'm with Trump on this. We need to get going.
I agree with you. I couldn't agree more. It's about time. Let's hope we do. You're one of the few members of Congress that really, really stands in the fight, really takes action. Burchett's another one. There's a handful of you that really put your money where your mouth is. You don't back down, and that's what I love about you guys. And there's some, and 4 voted against the measure to censure Omar. There's some who talk, and fundraise. But when it comes time to deliver, they're nowhere to be found. They're siding with the Democrats.
Yep.
I hate to use the word rhino. I think it's overused. But in this case, their idea, I think, is that if we take this action, then someday the Democrats will take it against us. I got news for you guys. They're going to take it anyway.
We're playing by their rules. And you look at the case of Corey Mills, and I'm not getting off this bone, but he did this in a very self-serving way. If the Ilhan Omar censure failed, then his censure would fail. And so it was just a very I scratch your back, you scratch mine, quid pro quo sort of thing. And that should not be a thing. Man up. You've done some things that are very egregious and wrong, allegedly. Man up and take responsibility. And he couldn't even do that. We all make mistakes, but at the end of the day, we have to set a good example for our fellow countrymen, for our nation, for the residents that we represent, because if the only way we can restore trust and responsibility and transparency in our institutions is to act like it.
Last question, I promise. We're running a little low on time, but just last question, because it's a hot topic right now. George Santos, pardon, commute, or leave it alone?
Has he paid back? I mean, there were some financial things that were happening. I don't know I'm going to be neutral. I don't know enough. I know that if you've taken money or done something, I know there has to be some restitution too.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll look into that. Actually, I don't know. Those are great questions.
I'm not sure. I know
me
that
neither.
Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying that he was in solitary confinement
Yes.
because of threats, which that seems extreme. He
Yes.
has no access to anything and doesn't get outside or see daylight. That's concerning because I don't think that what he's done deserves that kind of punishment. It reminds me of the J6, how J6ers were treated.
Yes.
They were prosecuted in ways that no other American has been, especially when you look at the BLM things. It sounds like he's being singled out because he's conservative, which is not correct or right at all either.
Correct. No, I agree with you. And that's my concern.
Mm-hmm.
Congresswoman, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad we got to do this.
Yes, sir. Thanks for your support. We'll keep retweeting and reposting and amplifying your content. You're really a great American, and we appreciate your patriotism.
You are a great American. I appreciate you, and God bless you.
God bless you too.